let's take some more calls. Jenny is in Moruya in New South Wales. Hi, Jenny. Welcome.
Thank you, Neil.
What are your thoughts, Jenny?
Well, my thought, I wanted to make a comment on Trish's subject. I'm so glad she brought it up. We do need to have compassion for the perpetrators in domestic violence. I was in a violent marriage for 17 years, so I was on the other side of that violence. But through all of that time, God taught me about mercy and understanding and forgiveness, and showed me the suffering that my husband was going through that brought him to be such a perpetrator. And I'm so grateful for that.
Wonderful thought, Jenny. And let's come to Bella on this. Your thoughts here for Jenny?
Oh, Jenny, yeah. Amazing. I mean, that takes it to the next stage, really, when you've actually chosen to stay. But what a wonderful depth of insight, as you say, that you develop. That's a gift that you have been given to understand a really complex situation. I'd love you on our team, Jenny, because, there's something about understanding that, like, that is quite profound. And I know that not everyone could maybe endure that. But for those that can, I think, and this is what we're talking about, disrupting mercy. The idea of we disrupt this idea that it doesn't have to be transactional, is that you, like your husband, received a blessing that he may never know about, the fact that you could understand.
We're no longer married. It did end up in a divorce, but I have no bitterness whatsoever towards him. Yeah. Just mercy.
Yeah, I've got shivers going down my spine now, because that is really a situation where the idea of mercy has been completely disrupted. It's not about transaction. It's not about all those things. It's about understanding the other person and where they may have come from. And I'm glad you're safe. And I'm glad you've been able to get out.
Jenny, while we've got you on the phone here, just want to come to Matthew on this, because interesting, isn't it? What does the victim learn? Because oftentimes, I know listeners will say we talk about forgiveness, forgive much. You've been forgiven, you're to forgive. Well, there's a practical element that goes on from that forgiveness, and perhaps that is the display of mercy that comes from our own heart. Matthew, your thoughts here as you're just reflecting on what Jenny's sharing?
Yeah. Look, the first thing I'd like to say, if there's any listeners who are in a situation where they're being abused by their husband, the most important thing is to be safe and to do something to protect yourself. We should never be telling people, you've just got to understand and be kind and put up with it. That's not the message. To be merciful to the perpetrator requires them to be called to account, because there can be no real transformation unless they realize that what they've done is really damaging and hurtful and unnecessary. So mercy doesn't just let people off the hook. Make sure you're safe. Think about, I love your attitude, Jenny, that even though you're divorced now, you don't hold the things grudge against him. And that's a good position to be in, because then you're not weighed down by the burden of unforgiveness either. And he's also released, hopefully, to rethink and to change his life, having understood the consequences of what he's done.
Jenny in Moruya, thank you so much for your call. Our talkback line open 1-800-316-316.